We're ready whenever you are.
Good evening and thank you for attending tonight's City Council meeting. For those who are attending remotely, the camera in the council chambers is set up to show those attending in person. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Kathy, would you call the roll?
Mayor Skelly,
Here.
Councilor Dilaba,
Here.
Councilor Fisher.
Here.
Councilor Kennedy. Here. Councilor Powers.
Here.
Councilor Reish.
Here.
Councilor Scamperly.
Here.
Quorum present.
Our first item of business will be read by Deputy Mayor John Reish.
It's a resolution to authorize the city manager to execute a land lease with the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority to open the city beach. Whereas the Ogdensburg City Council passed a resolution setting a goal to open the city beach by July 1, 2021, and directed the city manager to begin negotiations on a lease of land with the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority. And whereas a land lease has been prepared and reviewed by both parties, now therefore be it resolved that the city council authorizes the city manager to execute the land lease pending approval by the city attorney and to continue the process to open a city beach. Be it further resolved that the city council agrees to appropriate an amount not to exceed $50,000 to this project with a final budget to present it to the city council at the May 24th, 2021 city council meeting. I so move.
I will second that. Any discussion?
Well, first of all, point of order. Any resolution, I believe, according to parliamentary rules, we first have to take a vote to rescind the vote that was taken because we've already taken action on it. So that's the first thing that we need to do. Otherwise, this doesn't have any weight whatsoever. So, and this is according to parliamentary rules. So,
Kathy, is that correct? Do we need to do that?
I can't answer that question right now, Your Honor, without doing research. I can go do
Then-
that. I don't know the
then,
answer. I'm sorry.
Any other discussion?
No, with Dan's comments, I tend to agree with it. Every meeting I just presided over one yesterday through Robert's Rules of Order, through the parliamentarian process, and with the action that was done the other night that was voted down. This is effectively out of order. And it would be nice if we had our attorney here to be able to answer that for us. And I'm pretty confident that it's out of order.
Great. Any other discussion?
Do we have any information on the ADA compliancy, please?
No more than we talked about last meeting, council.
so can we get a ruling on this from the city attorney?
No.
Because it's pretty clear, even in the charter, that any resolution that's been acted upon, you need to rescind the action first before you can bring it back to the floor.
Well, it's not the same resolution as the previous one. If you go down through, just for the specifics of it, when you get to the final, be it further resolved, city council agrees to appropriate an amount not to exceed $50,000. It's on its face, I agree with you, but if you go down through and read it, it's a different resolution.
Not in its entirety. It's not, because we agreed,
Well,
you put a $50,000 number on it the other night.
Not
Well,
in the resolution.
It wasn't in the resolution. So this is a separate one, and you may say it's, apples and oranges, but it's not the same resolution. If it was the same one that we voted on,
It actually is.
I would agree to you with what you're saying, but it's not. It may be just a simple change of a few paragraphs, but it's not the same resolution.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Is the
before we
chair
vote?
choosing to move forward with this resolution?
Yes, I am.
So with that being said, where are we with the liability insurance?
Excuse me, same counselor as the last meeting. The Bridge and Port Authority has asked us to ensure that we provide 1 million occurrence, 3 million total, and we'll be moving forward with that.
has the original quote that they gave us, and I can't remember, 50 to 100 maybe.
Yeah, no,
It was 2550 was what the original estimate came from their insurance, excuse me, as a recommendation and a range of options. What they sent us back in the lease agreement that we presented to you tonight is what they're proposing.
Was there an agreement by the city with the Bridge and Port to anything that exceeded that we would make up the difference?
At this time, our attorney has not made that recommendation, nor is our insurance company. So I don't know the answer. If insurance was required to exceed it, we would pay.
I'll
We'd have
rephrase
to.
the question. Have you agreed with the Bridge and Port Authority to allow the city to pick up any difference outside the $1 and $3 million policy?
No. But I suspect if our attorney recommends that there's more than that, we will have to entertain that notion. The Bridge and Port
Will be
Authority is not.
responsible for it.
Of course.
That's in the lease?
It's not there yet, but I'm sure it will come back as part of the legal review that if additional insurance is required. I mean, it's us asking to do the operation. It'll be us providing the insurance, not the Bridge and Port Authority.
So any of the, I guess, just to get to the end. Yeah. Have any of the concerns that myself, Dan, and Nicole have addressed the other night been addressed, and we gotten any answers from the Department of Health, from the DEC? No, none of it.
No, nothing.
So-
Nothing.
I
I'm ready
don't
to talk
believe
about
you
it.
would move
Then we're
ahead.
still going forward with the same resolution, and I still believe that this would be ruled out of order.
We tried to address one of your concerns, which was the budget estimate. I think that's very high. I think it's a lot less than that, but that's what Steve's recommending. I haven't worked out the salaries in that. On the insurance, we checked with the town of Lisbon. They carry 1 million, 2 million. It's part of they just added it. So they have a policy like that. And when you open another facility, you just add it to your policy, whatever it is. So
No, I understand the underwriters and all that type of stuff.
Yeah. And Steve's had discussions with Department of Health, and they're very supportive of the endeavor. They love beaches, basically. DEC is less involved in the Department of Health, and I mean, they're the agency that oversees it, so we'll do everything that we're required to do to comply with whatever the requirements are for the safety of everybody, of course. But this will enable us, it was an ambitious goal that we set, but this would enable us to continue the process and move it forward, and hopefully people will be swimming down there July 1st. That'd be nice.
Wonderful.
Well, just to reiterate, and I'm sorry, Nicole,
Go ahead, Mike.
just to reiterate, and for the record, contrary to popular belief on social media, myself, and I can probably, if I'm not, please advise, speak for Dan and Nicole, that we're not opposed to a beach in any way, shape, or form. But we're not comfortable moving forward without all the boxes being checked prior to opening an endeavor of this magnitude and on short notice. I applaud the effort, but ultimately, at the end of the day, the city's liability would end up being the forefront. And that's my biggest hangup. The Department of Health, the DEC, the untreated sewage, then any rain event that we get, all you have to do is log into New York Alert and you can get hundreds of thousands of gallons. April 29th, May 1st, I'm looking at one now, 150,000 gallons untreated right down the Patterson Street boat launch. That flows downriver.
Right, and those are reported in the Department of Health. We would check the water
That's-
quality and condition on a daily basis, and those are the Department of Health regulations that we would follow. If the Department of Health thought there was a problem, we would close the beach, and when the Department of Health says it's safe to open again, we'll reopen the beach.
It seems very reasonable. You never accomplish anything by just looking to hinder it. Any further discussion?
Does the 50,000 include all DPW labor that'll be used? Is that factored in the 50,000? Because my concerns are we're with paving and CHIPS grants and things like that are coming. The next round of complaints that are going to be at the podium are going to be potholes, brush pickup. That season's coming, so I just want to make sure we're pulling from DPW, and it seems like we're putting a lot on them in reference to this beach. Is that labor going to be excluded from Shane's budget so we can still maintain and carry out what we need, our daily needs? Because we're all driving around. We know CHIPS grants is great for us. That is always a saver for us. And those are essentially help us with labor, improving our streets. And that's something that we can't put to the wayside for a beach, in my opinion. So do we have a plan for that?
Yeah, we do. I mean, our road plan is going to continue. Our normal work is going to continue. I mean, this is work we have to get done, really in the next 45 days. I mean, we don't have a lot of time to get it done. And when it's all said and done, the tree work will be the tree work, the dredging, the kind of the garbage that's out down there, and then preparing the sand and making it more appropriate for a beach. So yeah, it's a workload we can handle. I wouldn't have
So
put it
that
forward if we could.
50,000 does, so when we.
Yes.
So-
I factored everything I think we'll need to do this.
So can we get a breakout weekly sent to us as what DPW has spent time-wise on that beach?
We'll do the best we can, Counselor.
And then so I called around, so right now, a yard of beach sand is $7. How many yards do you anticipate? I asked you the other day for a beach, you couldn't tell me how big it was gonna be. we could-
Sand is very, very inexpensive.
It's $7 a square yard for beach quality sand right now.
Let me just say this, and then I'll just say, I don't have any more answers that I'm prepared to give tonight. What you're looking at tonight is authority for me to sign a lease with the Bridge and Port Authority. So I've got the ability to work freely down there and speak freely to the agencies that we have a lease. I told you last meeting, talked about the meeting before, as we get this developed, and to your very point right there, I have not dedicated an enormous amount of staff time to this until I knew that this council was supporting it and the Bridge and Port Authority, who owns the land, was supporting it. That is exactly what we said from the first point we started discussing this. Chicken before the egg, however you want to slice it. So this essentially for me tonight gives us the ability to go forward. It allows me to speak to the Department of Health with some level of authority that we, the city, are going to do this. The landowner wants us to do it. And to everybody else, we're moving forward, and we'll commit the staff time as reasonable. We're working right now with the health departments. We're entertaining a couple engineer firms to see how quickly we can get that work done. I mean, there definitely are other pitfalls along the way, but this helps us get moving to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. Not unlike any other project that we put in front of you. All the numbers will be here. They'll be full, disclosure and full approval to you. I put down the budget number tonight because you all asked for it. I don't know what the final cost will be. Councilor Reese is probably right. I may have estimated a little bit high. I don't know until we get everybody's requirements back. And so I think we're trying to get way ahead of ourselves a little bit with, have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done this? The staff will do this like every other project that this city staff has ever done. And you'll have that level of expertise and that level of information to make the next decision from it. At the 24 May City Council meeting, the staff will have a lot more information. Council will feel a lot more informed about where exactly we are with the beach. There's a special meeting on the 18th or 19th. If there's an update that I can provide that we know more, then we'll do it. So I asked last council meeting for council to consider this, because this is just important that we should demonstrate our commitment. The Bridge and Port Authority has demonstrated their commitment. So I think at this point, we've just got to collectively demonstrate that we're working together on this and we're moving forward. But there are things that could slow us down. There's potentially things that could stop us. It's not an absolute clear path ahead. We did set a fairly significant agenda, a pretty aggressive agenda from the time we started discussing doing this to the time we want to put it forward. It certainly would have been better had we thought about this last summer or last fall, but we are where we are, and we're trying to give it a go to make something good for Ogdensburg. I don't frankly see how anything negative can come from this. We're not going to send anybody down there if the water's contaminated, if there's been a sewer outfall. I mean, that's what all the state agencies have oversight of these operations for. We're not the only city, the only community to run a beach. We don't have to overthink safety procedures. They're already well in place. We don't have to overthink health procedures. The state already has guidelines. They're well in place, and we'll follow all those things like we do every other operation. So from my perspective, I don't have a lot of other answers. You can keep peppering me with questions in an attempt to make it look like I don't know what's going on. But I told you before, we didn't move through this to waste staff time, DPW, planning, engineering, or any other if we weren't going to be able to do it. I didn't, I didn't know what to expect when we got the agreement back from the Bridge and Port Authority. Based on the initial meeting that Councilor Reach and I had there, I thought the probability was low we were going to reach an agreement after that meeting. I was very, very pleased and very respectful that when we went to their board meeting and they allowed the three of us to speak there, it appeared that we changed some minds about what we were doing, and they came back and, it appears to be fully supporting the endeavor. So I think we need to just follow suit with that and keep moving.
I've also had a lot of people express interest in volunteering too for, a cleanup day or to rake sand when the sand comes. So that'd be a nice thing to do too.
And I'd like to commend, the three counselors on, really, I see a big improvement in fiscal responsibility and the way you are all concerned.
Your
about the cost.
condescending comments aren't
I
necessary.
appreciate that.
Okay.
With,
Any further discussion?
yeah, just real quick, just to piggyback the city manager's comments here. One, we're not peppering you with questions. This is our job. This is what we're elected to do. And you can put any spin you want on it, but at the end of the day, we have a fiduciary responsibility, just like you do. And when our constituents are asking us to ask these questions, we'll ask those questions. And you can call it peppering if you want. I'm telling you right now, I'm not peppering you with questions. I'm asking the same questions, unfortunately, because we don't have any new answers. And from my responsibility, that's where I sit.
I think Steve's point is that they haven't spent the time on it until they know it's going ahead. And once we give them this resolution, they're going to work on all those questions and come back to us.
I think it's very difficult to piggyback off of Mike and our responsibility. We don't know what we're going to get for sales tax next year. We don't have a budget. $50,000, as far as I'm concerned, is way short of what we're going to need when I started reading the regulations regarding a beach. And tell you the truth, I don't feel comfortable signing this right now until we know from the Department of Health, number one. And number two, I've asked over and over again for a public hearing. And I'd like to hear from the public on this about the way they feel in terms of spending this money. I think it's going to be upwards of 100 or 200,000. I'd like to know what the public feels about this. I'd like some numbers before I actually vote to basically write a blank check. And that's where I stand, like it or not. It's tough to do that. We're in a tight situation with the sales tax. And frankly, there's a lot of stuff. When I was looking at the Department of Health regulations the last few days, it's going to cost a lot of money to do this. I think a lot more than what you're thinking. We still have no answers on sanitary systems. We have a sewer pipe that comes right out in almost dead center of the
storm
beach.
drain.
A storm drain. Okay. And I'd like to, before we go giving any money to the Bridge and Port Authority or anybody else, I think we should do a little bit more homework first. And also, I'd like to see a public hearing because, we've given up a lot of things in our budget. Right now, we don't have the full EMT service we had. I mean, 2 people have died because, I don't know if it's because, but the fire department has been sitting there where the call comes
I
in.
think that's out of order.
I don't think it's out of order at all. I
Talking
think we're
about the
looking at a
beach,
whole budget here. Frank. We're looking at a whole budget. You guys cut EMT and you want to sink
So that's
What,
what, so
$100,000,
that's
$200,000
that's what this
into a
is all
beach?
about. That's what this is
And
all about.
no,
Yeah,
And
yes, it
I'd
is.
like to see a
If it goes
beach,
over 50,000,
Mhm.
we have to do a new resolution.
And
I mean,
that'll pass.
this is a limited amount, so you're worried about us going over that. You don't need to, because we'll have to come back and vote again.
I don't know if we have it. I'll tell you, I'd like to see some answers before we move on this.
We're gonna have answers, Steve explained that, we're gonna have answers.
Then what's the rush with this resolution? Get us the answers first.
It's
Because I don't feel
the same reason as
Frankly, I don't
before.
trust you.
It's the same reason as before.
I just don't trust you.
so
You
we
say
can
one
move
thing, you do
forward.
another.
Dan,
Everything you say on Facebook is
Dan,
garbage.
we felt the same way when you gave out the pay raises and the
I know.
PLA
I know you did.
before we
I
took
know you
office.
did.
So,
And it's proven
And,
otherwise.
and that was millions of dollars, not
Yeah.
$50,000.
And in the first 2 years, okay, it more than paid for those, what those concessions were more than paid for the pay raises.
I
And
disagree
so,
very
well,
much.
all I can do is look at the numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, numbers that were provided by this current city staff tell you that.
Apples and oranges.
that
But the fact of
your
the matter
pay
is,
raises saved us money.
until we get on our feet and see where the sales tax is, we got a lot of hoops to jump through with the Department of Health. Why don't we just take our time, look at this, do this beach right? If
Because
we're
the
gonna do it,
summer is
let's
almost
do it
here,
right.
Dan. The summer is
I
almost.
wish we would have taken time with those contracts. Are you saying, Dan, that
Let's not
pay
get into that.
raises
Let's.
helped us? Okay. So anyways, we're back to the beach and yes, thank you. So
I have.
any more discussion?
I've looked at the regs. There's a lot of hoops.
And that's the staff's job.
We call the roll.
So Kathy, would you call the roll, please?
Counselor Fisher,
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy,
No.
Counselor Powers,
No.
Counselor Reese,
Yes.
Counselor Scamperly,
No, I'd like to at least see a public hearing.
Mayor Skelly,
Yes.
Counselor Dilaba,
Yes.
approved.
I'd like a legal opinion as to the validity of this
I think
resolution,
we
whether
have to have a
it's in the
majority to
parliamentarian rules.
really to spend that kind of money. Something. Let's have some order, please. So we're on to our next thing. Tonight we have a resolution to censure Counselor Mike Powers for his language and conduct. Whereas Ogdensburg City Council members are expected to carry out their duties in a respectful manner when conducting public business. And whereas Counselor Michael Powers has on more than one occasion used vulgar and inappropriate language during city council meetings. And whereas the most recent example of such inappropriate conduct by Counselor Powers took place on April 12th, 2021, when he loudly used the F word and directed the vulgarity at City Manager Stephen Jelly during public session. And whereas the use of such intimidating, foul-mouthed, and bullying language are out of line with the rules of basic human conduct as referred to in the Ogdensburg City Administrative Regulations, AR-23. And whereas it should be the goal of all staff and elected officials within the city of Ogdensburg to conduct public business in a courteous and respectful manner. Now therefore be it resolved that the city of Ogdensburg Council does hereby censure Counselor Powers for his language and his conduct and place him on notice that such conduct shall not be condoned or tolerated during future public meetings or other such official gatherings. I will move this.
I'll laugh at it. This is ridiculous.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion?
I'd like to make a motion to amend it.
Hey, let's have some order, please.
I'd like
Order.
to amend that.
Maybe Penny would like to come speak.
I'd like to add a few names next to Mike Powers's. Counselor Stephen Fisher for calling the city librarian a B word. Counselor William Dillabaugh for using the BS word last year. And Mayor Skelly for looking at me and calling me ignorant. I believe it was 2 meetings ago, twice.
You're leaving yourself
I'll
off for
second
that
that.
word?
Yeah.
You're leaving yourself off
If
for
you
that
want to
word?
put another amendment.
Yeah,
in, you
I'll
can.
second it.
All
Do
right.
we have a second for that
Yeah, we
amendment?
got a second on that, and then we got a third.
I mean, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's
You
just
left
like,
yourself
I'm
off
still
when you
talking.
said
It's,
the F word.
you know, it's again, it's a double standard and it's,
No.
you can say whatever you want on your political post, on your political page on Facebook. And most of it's lies and nonsense. You stand right here and then you stand there and call people
We're
names.
talking
And
about this resolution.
so how come you can do it?
We have an
Mr.
amendment
Fisher
on
can
the
do
floor.
it? Okay.
Kathy, would you call the roll?
This is a motion.
Well, is there no more discussion?
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I'm just asking if anybody else has anything they want to say.
On the
Kathy,
resolution or
would
the
you
the
call the
amendment.
roll?
Counselor Kennedy,
On the amendment?
this is a motion to amend, yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Counselor Reese?
No.
Counselor Scamperly?
Yes.
Mayor Skelly?
No.
Counselor Dilaba?
No.
Counselor Fisher?
No.
Denied.
Kathy, will you call the
So-
roll?
We can have discussion on this one.
Still got to open it for discussion.
So I'd like to know, we'll work right down the line, what's the difference? I'll start with you, Bill. What's the difference between Counselor Fisher calling the city librarian a B word and
He did not. call it
Council,
keyword.
well, he
Talked
clearly
about-
did.
He
talked
was,
about
Okay.
an act.
And
which is a
Counselor
nice way to talk to a woman,
Powers
by
in
the way.
a passionate discussion, slipping, almost saying the F word, catching himself and immediately apologizing. So what's the difference? And we'll start with Bill.
No, the F word's a lot more than bullshit, right?
A lot more.
Oh,
correct.
no, we can say that in here. We
Is
can
that what
say
you said I
that.
said? Is that what you said I said?
That's it, that is, but that wasn't.
But that wasn't the question.
I mean,
You're right, I'll agree with you.
yeah.
Hey,
So-
your alleged comments about women as well.
I never said that.
Well, I said alleged, didn't I?
Yeah,
I said alleged.
Okay.
Right.
Listen, we're talking about this resolution.
And my question is, what's the difference between what Counselor Fisher said to the
Oh, I
city
see.
librarian
He-
and
this is
what
not ever
Counselor
said-
Powers said
Never said in.
in the middle of a heated
That was
discussion?
not
Fisher didn't
said
say
in
it to her.
There was a veiled threat in that.
There was
There most
threat.
certainly was. He threatened the library with remembering where their position was and where his vote would lie.
Okay,
He's got-
discussion's ended. You're not talking about the resolution. Kathy, will you call the
Well,
roll?
all right, on the resolution, just for the
It's on
record,
the resolution.
I did acknowledge it. I don't have a problem saying it. I don't have a problem being censored, but what's good for one should be good for all. And more importantly, I acknowledged it immediately before anybody called me. And I apologized twice. I'll take the censure. I don't have any issue with it. I'm not going to support it, obviously, because nobody else is going to play along. So with that being said, that for the record, and I still maintain my apology, and you can bet that it won't happen again.
I appreciate your apology on that.
I'm
And,
not apologizing to you, I'm apologizing.
so you should apologize, really. But I can tell you really are sorry. Okay, Kathy, will you call the roll, please?
Counselor Powers?
No.
Counselor Reese?
Yes.
Counselor Scamperly?
No.
Mayor Skelly?
Yes.
Counselor Dilaba?
Yes.
Counselor Fisher?
Yes.
Counselor Fisher,
Have some order, please.
Counselor Fisher, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Thank you. Counselor Kennedy?
No.
Approved.
Like a legal opinion on that as well.
Let's have some order, please. Okay. At this time, I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Adjourn.